This grout.
Yep.
The screen is kind of a bit blurred.
That's gonna come and go. I cannot control that. So just if you can't see something, let me know and I'll try to tell you what I wrote down, but it's gonna be blurry at times. So the y-intercept is gonna be the point where the line crosses the x-axis. That's gonna be important today. And then we've got one more definition. The equation that we're going to use a lot of today is slope-intercept form. Which will be y equals mx plus b. Give me a reaction when you've got those three definitions written down, please. Cool. I see you, Jonathan. You're good. About 30 more seconds, then we'll jump into our examples. And guys, we're looking at 5, 6 examples today, and then that's going to be it for the notes. So it should go pretty quick.
I learned this in 8th grade.
So again, guys, we're going to be graphing. We're just going to have to try to sketch the best that we can what the graph's going to look like. So example 1, we're going to graph y equals 4/5 x plus 2. And we'll give you a second to write that down. And so we're not gonna actually get super descriptive on our graph. I just want 2 points, 2 points, 2 hash marks, 2 hash marks. Okay, we're gonna keep it pretty basic. Two steps when graphing a line, pretty easy. Step 1, plot the y-intercept.
They're starting to come. 3 days.
So let's come back up here to our definition. The B is the y-intercept. And the N is our slope. Okay, so this is what we need to remember. We already talked about the fact that slope is N, and we talked about that last class. B is our y-intercept. So looking at this equation, my y-intercept would be 2. So I'm going to put a point at 2 on the y-axis. Step 2, and we're going to use what we did last class. We're going to count out the slope. So this is where it's going to get kind of iffy because I don't know if you guys have graph paper that we're just going to kind of make do. So my slope is rise over run, which is 4/5. So I'm going to go up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just going to kind of make 4 little loops to show that I'm moving up 4. And then my run is 5, it's positive. So I'm gonna go to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and just make 5 loops. Okay. So if you're looking on your homework tonight, the graph, so I moved up 4 boxes and I moved over 5 boxes. Those little loops, they're representing the boxes. And then we're gonna draw our line to connect our points. I think we're just gonna stick with 2 points. Okay. So this is what we're gonna focus on today. So we're gonna try another one. You wanna be up? Or not wanna be up? I said you wanna be up or not be up?
That'll do.
Okay.
My turn. All right. Of course, I can't figure out the pen. All right, so we got another example here. So we're also going to graph. You've got to read your directions and see what it's telling you to do or what you're looking for. And you also need to pay attention to what the parts are when you're looking at it. So I always suggest you look at the equation, make sure it says y by itself, and then look for your m and your b or your slope and your y-intercept. So this is my y-intercept. The one next to x is always your slope. I like to find those before I start graphing. Now, if you'll notice, this one is a little bit different on the slope than this one up here. And slope requires 2 movements, but I only have 1 number here. So we're gonna have to kind of adjust this one before we get started. Since there is a number for my slope and we need a rise over run, we're gonna change the slope to rise over run. So right now, slope is -2. We're gonna change it. I don't wanna change the value, I just wanna get a number on the bottom. So without changing the value of -2, you can always put any number over 1, and it doesn't change the value. So if you're asked to graph and you don't have a fraction like this, and it looks like this, you can make it a fraction for your other movement. So that one we had to do one little thing to get started. Then we will plot the y-intercept. Before I do the next step, I'm going to go ahead and draw the graph. Give myself some points. Well, shoot, I of course do that. I'm going to half mine, don't half yours. So if I go back to my equation here, my y-intercept is down here. So it says to plot that first. It's on the y. This is my y line. So I go to -5. 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's my -5. So I plot my y-intercept and then do your rise over run for your slope. From that point, this is your starting point. So here's the trick on this one. It's a -2. So from here, I'm going to fall 2 and then run a +1. Fall 2, run a +1. If you've run out of room, see how I went down and right? You can always go the opposite, up and left. You need a dot on the other side. But you got to do this opposite of both movements. These always go in the same order, but if you don't have a fraction for slope, you need to make it a fraction.
Please watch, guys, your negatives. I was checking homework. You missed questions for slope. A lot of it was because that you forgot a negative sign on last class homework. So watch your signs for us.
You can always take a look at this graph. This one's going up from left to right. So it has to be a positive slope, and this was positive. On this one, it's going down from left to right, so it has to be a negative slope, and it is a negative number for slope. So it's a good thing to check it when you're finished. If it had a negative on slope, it should be going down. If it has a positive slope, it should be going up. So check those things out when you finish, okay? All right, third example. I'm gonna graph again. So this says y equals, so that's good for graphing. We have a slope because that's what's next to x, and it's in a fraction, so that's nice. But we don't have anything on the end. You have to have a starting point if you're going to have a y equals. We have to have a starting point out here. And again, you can't change the equation. So I got to put something out here that won't change it, but I could use. So I'm going to kind of put that in a little bubble. It's like adding 0. If you need that number out there to see it, you can always put a +0 on the end. So put +0 for y-intercept. It doesn't have it. Then we'll plot our y-intercept first. Should be pretty easy to find for 0. Right there. Then we rise over run for slope. From that point. So our rise is 1, our run is 2. So rise 1, run 2. If you have space, you could always do it again. Rise 1, run 2. And then connect your dots. Do we have any questions, concerns with graphing yet? Send it in chat, or you can say it out loud. I'm sure someone would appreciate that. All right. While you're there, we want you to try one, and then we'll put it up in a few minutes so you can see if you did it correctly. So you're going to graph y equals 3/4 x minus 5.
And we get, guys, so since you're graphing, you can't really put an answer in the chat for us right now. Just try to create the graph for us on your paper. We'll put the answer up in a couple minutes, like Mrs. Nib said, and then you just compare the two. This is a great time if you have questions to be asking us questions. You're trying this one on your own.
Wait, you're in the room.
About another 30 seconds, guys, and then we're gonna put an answer up. See how you did. Oh, I didn't even see Blake's.
I swear it wasn't for him. I feel like I'm teaching no one.
All right, let's see how we did. Okay, so check your graph. Y-intercept would be my -5. So 2, 3, 4, 5. My first point's gonna be down here. And my slope is 3/4. Okay, they gave us to us as a fraction. Awesome. So I'm gonna go up 3 boxes because it's rise over run. Okay. Rise over run. If you need to draw those arrows, draw those arrows. So up 3 and over 4 to the right. Here's what my line should look like. How many of you matched? Either reaction or in chat. How many of you have a matching graph? Okay. Perfect. Okay. So here's the deal. Since we're virtual and it's hard for you guys to graph, the last 2 examples, we're going to kind of go backwards and we're going to sketch the graph and you guys are going to have to tell us the equation. And that's how it's going to kind of be set up more so on your homework is you're going to be given a graph and you have to write the equation for us. So we've got 2 examples left. Okay. So I think this is example 5. We're going to sketch a graph. So just try to sketch for me the best that you can. Okay, I put 4 hash marks everywhere. If you need to, here's your X, here's your Y. And so go down 3 on the Y-axis, put a point there for me. Okay, again, we're drawing the graph first and you guys are gonna tell us the equation. So go down -3. No. Just that. And then show me that you went up 4 and over 1 to the left. Guess I shouldn't have put that number there. What do you think that equation is going to be? Take a guess in chat. What do you think the equation is going to be? You're really close, Adrian. Christian, you're also very close. You guys are all missing the same thing. You all have forgotten a very important part to our equations.
Look back on the other equations and see what they all
There we
have
go,
in them.
Rochelle. Okay, Valerie, Adrian. Oh, terrible.
We'll take it.
Mhm.
What do all the other equations have that some of you are missing? It's not necessarily a number. There's a clue.
So we went up 4, over 1 to the left. Left would make this negative. So my slope would be 4 over -1. If you wrote it as -4 over +1, that also works. Hey guys, what do we put after the slope? Thanks, Rochelle. Okay. The number of you early on, you've got to remember to put an X there. you will be marked wrong every time if you do not put an X after your slope. So here's my slope. My y-intercept was -3. Now, if you said -4, we get it. Okay, you're just sketching a graph. So this answer works. Or if you said -4 over 1x -3 or -4, that would also work. Okay. So pretty good. Let's try one more. Okay, last example. So we're going to sketch another graph. And I'm going to do 4 hash marks on all part of the graph again. There are kind of some boxes there, so I'm not going to put any marks necessarily, and we want to see what you guys come up with again. Okay, so what's the equation for this graph? I don't know why my key doesn't look like that. Why I left that off.
Just got done.
Hey, Christian, make sure it's an equation for me. So we need to have an equal sign somewhere. Good, Adrian. We like it, Blake. Good, Kira. Go back to your definition, Nate, for what slope is.
Just counted.
Yeah.
Keep throwing them out there.
Make sure it's an equation, Valerie.
Haley, you're missing something.
Good, Chloe.
Looks good. You guys are doing really well. Desmond, it's got to have the equation part to it. So if you don't put this in on Schoology, you're going to miss it. All right, it's looking pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this out. But it's really important that you have the y equals in front. So that has to be included when you put your answers in Schoology. So when we do our slope, we did that 2 days ago. How do we travel from point to point? We start with the left one. So we're going to go up 1, 2. So we went up a +2. And then we went over 1, 2, 3 to the right. So that's positive. Every slope has an X. And then we look at our Y line for the Y-intercept. 1, 2. So make sure you put the plus sign in there, okay, Madeline? You need the plus sign. Just watch how you type them in Schoology. Because you're getting good information. It just has to be formatted correctly.
And in Schoology, I believe, guys, no spaces when you're typing in your equation.
Does this go with a slash?
Yes.
So in Schoology, it's going to be typed like this. Y equals 2/3 x plus 2. So you'll use the backslash. You can't get them this way. So it'll be side by side.
And we'll stay on, guys. So as you go through, as you start your homework, you'll be able to ask us questions, whether it's how to type stuff in or whatever it is. So let us show you what Schoology is going to look like. This is it for the notes today. Okay, so hang on to those. And so your homework today will be in the October 2nd folder. All right, there's kind of a lot going on, but relax. So here's another example, a short example. If you want to see somebody else how to graph it or how to read it from a graph, this is a short video. Here's a key to the notes. Okay, so if you missed anything, you can look at the key here. Here's your homework. So this is what you guys are working on. And then you're gonna upload a picture of your notes. So that's kind of your goal for today. But remember, at the beginning of class, we talked about that everybody can retake the chapter 3 test. So I'm also gonna publish this folder. And in this folder will be a chapter 3 review for the retest. And if you want to retest next week, you have to complete the review that is in this folder. So we don't care which assignment you're working on right now. If you want to focus on chapter 3, you can focus on chapter 3. But everybody is staying on Zoom until 2:30 to ask us questions as needed. Okay, so nobody's getting off yet. We don't care what assignment you are working on. Go to your, or I guess your let's publish the stuff for year 10. I don't want to be on your class right now. It's not quite published yet, guys. Hold on. Okay. When you publish the retest folder, make sure the retest doesn't actually get published yet, though.
Okay.
Will you please move soon? I think, guys, you're good. Everything should be published. So again, either working on tonight's homework or you're working